Well, hello, parents of Eastridge High School students. Here we go again, teaching in the era of a pandemic. I think we'll do a much better job with this than we did in the springtime. I know things are going to be different than they were in the springtime. More importantly, things are going to move very, very fast, and I've communicated that with all of the students how fast we're going to move this trimester. So I think it's going to be quite important for them to keep up with their daily work because, again, we're going to move very, very fast. Now, if you don't know, I am a remote teacher, so I will always be teaching from home. In that respect, I'll be using either WebEx or Google Meet to teach the class. Now, I've communicated with all my students that they should make it a point to join my meetings, WebEx or Google Meet, every day, if possible. I understand there may be extenuating circumstances, but I think it's going to be quite important, particularly because we're moving so fast and the nature of how things go in Algebra 2 or AP Computer Science applications. We're covering so much material every day that I think it's going to be very, very helpful for them to join my meetings every day. I'll give you a good example with with the AB schedule. So let's say here it's A day and A students are in class and we go over a lesson, and then they may have an assignment that evening. Now B students, they were watching the same lesson virtually as well as my virtual students. Those B students, they'll come in the following day and then they'll be able to ask questions on any material that was handed out or assigned the day before. But the A students won't get a chance to ask those questions unless they join my Google Meet in the afternoon. They won't get a chance to answer those questions until 2 days later. But by that time, we're already on to the third lesson. So I think by joining my Google Meets or WebEx daily, they can stay current and ask questions. I tell you, the benefit of that, particularly as I found Thursday and Friday, so I'm telling students that, like in 2 classes, the students who were at home watching my WebEx or Google Meet, they asked me questions as soon as this class was over, particularly like second hour where I have some time after class, and so they stayed on my Google Meet and ask questions. And ditto for third hour, those students who watch the lesson virtually at home, they stayed on after the lesson was presented to the class and asked questions. So they didn't have to wait until my office hours, or not office hours, but the hours I've set aside to meet with students. They didn't have to wait until then because they were already there. And that was a great benefit to them. And I had probably a little more than half a dozen students who did that. So I just think that was very, very beneficial. So I do encourage students to join my WebEx or Google Meet, whatever it is, however I'm presenting that particular day, every day if they can. You learn so much by being in the classroom. All right, so that's one thing that's important. The other thing is attendance. If students have not joined my Google Meet or WebEx on that particular day, they are required to complete an attendance assignment that's due by 3 o'clock. Now, that attendance assignment will pertain to the video lesson that I posted on Schoology that day. It covers the same material for the students who were in class or in school, but they are required to answer some questions related to the video lesson for that day by 3 o'clock. Okay, otherwise I'll mark them tardy. And if there's a circumstance where a student's computer isn't working or something, I cannot not mark them absent. Okay, so the only possibility there is for them, or the parents, to actually call into school and let attendants know that it's just like if they're sick, okay? Because I'm going to mark them absent, and if they've been reported as sick or whatever, then that absent doesn't count. So I would strongly encourage students that if they do run into some type of technical issue related to trying to complete that attendance assignment by 3 o'clock, that they make that known to the attendance office because again, if I don't see it by 3 o'clock, I just mark them as absent. And again, that only pertains to those students who did not join my Google Meet or WebEx that day. All right, so that's the other thing. The final thing is this here, homework, and I've had some questions about homework. Given the A-B schedule, I kind of give students like 2 days to turn in the homework. Okay, and the reason is because we have the A-B schedule. So as I just said a minute ago, my A students who may have been in class and gotten an assignment that evening, they don't really get a chance to ask questions about the assignment until 2 days later. Okay, so before students turn in work, I'd like for them to check their understanding, make sure it's right, and then I'll collect it from them. So for the most part, assignments aren't due the day I assign them. They're like due 2 days later, after every A or B students, virtual students, have had a chance to ask questions on it, and I just think that's the only fair thing to do. Okay, but if they do turn it in late after I've collected it, then they will receive half credit for it. Okay, and yeah, so I guess that's probably about it. Those are the important things. I think if students adhere to those things that I've mentioned in this video, I think they'll be very, very successful. My personal opinion, me teaching at home but using Google Meet or my WebEx to teach is not that much different than me being in a classroom. I have my own personal chat server where students could ask questions while the class is going on and nobody else sees those questions, and I can respond. Or they could ask questions verbally in WebEx or in the chat session within WebEx or Google Meet. So they have like 3 options in which to ask questions. So I try and keep it interactive as well. I'm checking for understanding and so on and so forth. And that's another benefit of students who aren't in class that day or virtual students to join those video lessons, that Google Meet or WebEx, because then I can check for understanding as well for them as opposed to the students in class. All right, so it's not that much different than if I was actually in the classroom. Probably the only difference is this here, particularly as a math teacher, that on many occasions students would come up to my desk and ask a question on a homework problem they were doing in class. So that's not happening, but I don't know if that would happen even if I were in the classroom, because, we have to maintain that 6 feet of distance. And so even then, now that would be different. And so it's kind of a crazy situation. But again, I'm trying to do as much as possible to monitor student understanding and keep them engaged. So if you do have any questions, please reach out to me, and I'd be delighted. I was supposed to take somewhere between 5 and 7 minutes for this video. I don't know if I've gone over, but at least I've wanted to cover the salient points of how either class that I teach is going to run. But again, if you do have any other questions, reach out to me, and I'll be delighted to help.